So you're looking at it and saying, all right, this one might get away from them. Great response early that is sparked by Tyrese Maxey. And some of the best speed changing, acceleration, deceleration that we've seen from him all year. And then Dallas says, hey, we're going to try to take him away. We're going to hedge. We're going to double. We're going to get the ball out of his hands. And in the second quarter, Tobias Harris steps up and he gets going. He gets some shots to go down, make some plays in transition, and then hit some mid-post jumpers. He gets to, I think he got to what, like 14 at halftime after, frankly, a start that it looked like it was going to be a long day for him. So you get to halftime and you're up and the good vibes are rolling. Well, then Tyrese Maxey gets hurt in the third quarter, even as the aggressive defense is being played. And it's like, okay, now you're down to him. Kyle Lowry can't hit water from a boat today. What do? And Kelly Oubre steps forward. And it just felt like every time something was going wrong or somebody came out that they got a lift and they got a spark. And some of that was because they did the hard work. They did the early work. They made the defensive rotations. Guys got their hands on balls. Guys are attacking offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, and doing the little things that we preach on this show all the time. And Dallas put the fear of God in them at the end, right? Because end of the day, they still had Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, and those guys are two of the best difficult shot makers in the league. But I think this is more what I would have hoped for, what the fan base would have hoped for when Joel went down with an injury. Like it was a team that felt like they had an identity. They had cohesiveness. And maybe some of this is just they're getting more minutes together and Nick Nurse is stumbling into things, lineup combinations, starting Kyle Lowry, which we'll get to him at some point. But it was the first time, like they won the other night against Charlotte. I still wouldn't say it was a great performance overall. This is a game where it was like, that's a team that actually has some real chemistry to fall back on and an understanding of how to play together and how to benefit from one another. Like when you have Kelly Oubre out there in the second half, I think he ended up with like 4 assists in this game. And we call him a black hole all the time. That's been his reputation as a player for most of his career. So to see him break off of that, to see him buy into this, and to create this environment that a bunch of different guys get to double digits and impact the game, that's what you wanted to see when Joel went down. This is, unlike the Charlotte game, to me, you point to this game and say, this is a performance you can build on. You go into the film room and say, this is Sixers basketball. This is how you have to play.
They played inspired basketball.
Yes.
They had an identity of what they wanted to do. So we know what the lineup looked like with Kyle Lowry starting, Mo Bamba as well. But they came out inspired after that to go on that 15-0 run, spearheaded by Tyrese Maxey. And before that 3-minute run by Dallas, the timeout from Nick Nurse, Tyrese Maxey was allowing everyone else to take the shots and get going. We see the stars let the complementary players, the other players, get going first, where the star player gets going a little bit thereafter. Yeah. He did that, and once that timeout happened, he was the one that ignited things and sparked things.
No more of that. No more waiting.
And turned it up. And with, as Kyle was talking about, the way that he was using his speed downhill, it was, for me, the dribble combinations, the counters to the moves that he had, length on him with Derrick Jones Jr., and how he was attacking him, setting him up to have him lean just enough to keep him off balance, to use that speed with his strong hand, by the way, to get to the basket, scoop, finish, and not pick up the basketball. Keep the dribble alive to get to the basket and finish. So that was that. Then you had the other extra things that were happening with the plays that they were doing. The extra pass from Kelly Oubre late. As he had it going scoring, he makes that extra pass, that key bounce pass to Nick Batum in the corner, wide open for a three-pointer.
And then another one later to Tobias Harris in the opposite
Absolutely.
corner.
And Nick Batum had missed a three-pointer, 2 three-pointers that were wide open. So a great connected pass, as you like to call it, to him right there, where he already had the hot hand going with the scoring. He did that. Great offensive rebound from Nick Batum. They wound up not scoring, but they got the rebound. Great offensive rebound from Tobias Harris after a miss. They didn't score there, but keeping them off the defensive glass to give them another 14 seconds to run off the clock to try to get a shot and get things going. Great five-point stretch from Buddy Hield when they needed 5 points from him after he struggled. here tonight.
They got something out of everybody. It might not have been a lot out of everybody.
Yeah.
That's something out of everybody.
They just did so many things. And to your point also, while I don't run off each name as we will talk about them over this postgame show, the fact that they had 1 turnover at halftime to get them into it, 3 turnovers almost by the end of the third quarter because they were protecting the basketball and allowing themselves to get good shots on this afternoon. Just a phenomenal. I saw someone ask, was this the best win of the season? It's up there because they've had some really good ones where we've talked about it after, like Cleveland. Great win on the road before the All-Star break.
And this is what Dallas needs,
Great
right?
win.
Like, that's a crowded Western Conference playoff
they
picture.
needed this one.
They're, like we said before the game, Devon, they're 1-3 over the last 4 coming into this game.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dallas is coming in saying, we need this one. We got to get the ship on the right track here. So to come in and outplay them for most of that game, because there was nothing fluky about it, right? They created good shots. They played good defensively. Like, Dallas, give them credit, continued to battle until the end, made a bunch of tough threes, and Luka and Kyrie did their thing. Like, Kyrie still ends up with 28, 5, and 4. Luka scraped the triple-double at the end with 38, 11, and 10 on good efficiency. Like, those guys had good games.
Derrick Jones did not miss. He had 1 miss on the...
And you still beat them.
And you still beat that basketball team.
Yeah,
you
that's
did.
a good win.
That's a good win. And when we talked about it coming into it, defense optional for the 76ers, they played good defense tonight. There's nothing you can do about a triple-double Luka Doncic.
Or Derrick Jones making 5 threes.
You live with those threes. As they were going and they was knocking them down, I'm looking at Colin like, you live with those because that has to happen. It was similar. It was Josh Green in the first one, but the Sixers had an answer for it this afternoon versus what they didn't have in that game in Philadelphia on February 5th. The role player hit the shots. You had good counters, and you had everybody doing something to help pick up this victory on the road against, as we said, both teams with 34 wins, trying to position themselves in their respective conferences to stay in the spot.
Yes.
Keep away from Golden State. Stay with the Knicks for the Sixers. Hold off the Indiana Pacers right there or the Miami Heat. And the Sixers came out and did just that in a tough environment against a team that, again, needed this one as much as you did, but you came up with the win. Nick Nurse did a really good job out-coaching Jason Kidd in this one. Your stars did what your stars did. Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Tyrese Maxey, and then your role players stepped up in a big, big way.
We all silly like the mayor.